And we're in. So welcome to a card review no one asked for. A card review by someone who is not actually very good at Hearthstone, but is fascinated by the kind of game theory aspects, this ever-changing meta of tactics and strategies coming in and out of vogue, and every new card reveal is kind of the time when that's at its densest, when people are starting to think like, what do we do next? Like, what does the next decks look like? And so we get a chance here to start looking at them. And I'm not claiming to be an expert, but what I am claiming to do is that I might find some things that others maybe don't see, maybe do. Let's find out. So let's jump in. I've only just found out about the Descent Dragons. I don't know anything about it at this point. Galakrond, father of all dragon kind. So we've got Invoke keyword, side quest or new mechanic, and Galakrond hero cards. Don't care about this. So all alongside legendary dragons. So this is a hero card of the kind, like Death Knight cards, um, like Doctor Doom Mad Genius. So you're replacing your hero with this and getting 5 armor. Battle Quiet, draw 1 card, it costs 0. Now that's pretty strong on its own. It can be upgraded though by invoking. I don't yet know what invoking is. What are these guys? Oh yeah, got some hiding here. Terror Unleashed. Shuffle 7 Dream Portal into your deck. Or summon a random dragon. That's probably pretty strong. Dragons, if you're summoning a random anything, are about the strongest thing in the game. Random tends to come from, at first, the most recent pool. Like, the pools change, but it's not going to not be strong. 412 is not the most effectual stat line, but, you know, it sticks around on the board. It does damage. Lightning Breath. Deal 4 damage to a minion if you're holding a dragon. Also damage its neighbours. So chances are, if you're playing a dragon deck, you're going to be playing most of your cards late. It's likely, even by turn 3, that you have a dragon in your hand, and this is just a really good keep the board clear. Like, you can hit 3 minions with this. This is really good for just keeping control. Seal Fate. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character. Invoke Galakrond. So this does something to Galakrond. More than that, I don't really know what that means. So maybe Galakrond, a bit like early Cthulhu. Early Cthulhu? A bit like Cthulhu, is kind of buffed up by you playing cards that interact with it. Taunt, Battle Cry, Invoke, Galakrond. That's fine. Stat lines aren't great, and I don't yet know really what invoking is. Let's have a look at these. So, each League of Evil has their own Galakrond. Or maybe they have their own one. Hero power there was discover a lackey or get a lackey. Discover much more powerful, much more likely to get the one you want. I missed it that time as well. Add a lackey to your hand. So you get a random lackey, which is still strong. Lackeys are very strong, but not amazing. Utter the precursor with Invoke to upgrade his hero power and amplify strength. So Invoke seems to just relate Galakrond. And there's a bunch of dragons. This is probably because I've got Darkblue on that these are coming out with. Let's turn this off for a sec. Hey, look at them. You can get some bundles if you want to spend money in the game, which, you know, anyone's welcome to. Okay, let's start looking at these cards. We've got a lot here. Bunch of breaths. Fine. So one way to think about Hearthstone cards, which is all you're really trying to achieve is health difference over mana cost. Given your mana restrictions, deck size, opponent's play, or just opponent, and not dying. So you're trying to play whatever. Oh, that's pretty small. Let's get that bigger. Is that ever going to be visible? Maybe not with this webcam. You're trying to play whatever gets you the most damage done or health healed for mana. So something like this is really simple. Like, it's doing 3 damage, it's taking a minion off the board. Is it going to be good? That's really hard to say. Draw 3 cards, cost 3 left when you're holding dragon. That's fantastic. Drawing 3 cards for 3 mana. Great. That's kind of extra arcane intellect. Holding a dragon, your hand might be big, so you might actually be in fear of milling, but generally, unless you draw it at the very end of the game, which is not very often a place the Vogue is getting to, you are going to use that to cheaply draw 3 cards and really refill your hand. I think that'll be very strong. I'm going to look after this at other people's reviews of these and see if I got it completely wrong. So let's put up some ones that we think are good. Candle Breath, I think, is going to be somewhere pretty high on the list. Please excuse while I play around with window sizes. Please excuse that I don't actually know how to crop things. Nope, I've no idea how to do that. Sand Breath. Give million +1/+2. Give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. It's a lot of stats, pretty cheap, but it doesn't do anything amazing. Actually giving some minions giving +1/+2 and Divine Shield will do a lot. Some minions that you want to stick around, that your opponent's going to want to get rid of. Ranging from just a taunt minion, sticking around a lot. Do something with some cool, every end of turn effect. This will be a fun card to play around with. And it's, as someone who plays, not paying any money, the fact that it's common, the fact that anyone can get their hands on it relatively easily, relatively commonly, it'll be fun. It may not be powerful, but it's fun, and that's important. And it's going to allow people to do occasionally crazy things that they'll give this to a card that otherwise would be useless, and instead it becomes really powerful for pretty cheap. One cost though, it's cheap, but you can't play it on. You've got to wait until you have a minion to play this on. So, it wouldn't make that much difference if it was more cost. In fact, it might be a better card if it was more cost and more stats. But there'll also be specific combos this allows. It being 1 cost means that if you have Emperor Thalician, I don't know if he's going to stick in the set, but if you stick this on him, he's much more likely to stick around for a second turn and get you even more value, which, although it doesn't look like health difference compared to mana cost, it's actually decreasing the mana cost of your other cards, so their health difference per mana cost. Let's call this Delta. All we ever want is Delta. Waxadread. Shuffle a candle into your deck that re-summons Waxadread when drawn. This is very strong. It may not be insane, there may not be any particular really cool combos, but you're just going to keep on cast when drawn. I can't remember if that means that you also draw a card. Let's look it up. Cast when drawn, Hearthstone. After it resolves, the player draws another card. Yep, so you're not losing time. It's a good stat line for 5 mana, and you're just going to keep getting it. Like, if you play this at the beginning of the game, you may well not see it again, but if you play it towards the end, you might see this 5 or 6 times. It's kind of like the Little Shop of Horrors inspired one, which was also a Vogue card that you had to play 4 cards in a turn to bring back. But this one, there's like, you're going to draw this card, it's going to happen. Things like Arena decks, this will be really strong in. Constructed, it's a pretty good card, maybe we'll see it. Deathwing, Mad Aspect, Battlecry, attack all other minions. All other minions, including your own other minions, but it's cheap, and it's a big stat line, and often you want to attack minions. Like, your opponents, like, turn 8, they might not have anything that strong on the board, particularly they might have, generally, most minions that are played are more health than attack, because that makes them stick around, and this can get rid of an entire board. It's kind of a Batterhead. It's very like Batterhead, but with huge attack. Like, it's going to get rid of basically everything. So, you know what? I'm not going to do this in any particular order, but Deathwing is going up on that board. Malygos Aspect of Magic. If you're holding a dragon, discover an upgraded mage spell. Don't know what that means. Here we go. Upgraded mage spells. Oh, people think it's good. Spoiler. So I should probably say it's good. Cost 5. Stat line is kind of weird but perfectly good. Like, it's going to stick around for a bit. It's not going to do anything incredible, but for 5 to attack is fine. 2 damage to all enemy minions. Strong. So the fact that these are very unreliable in cost makes it weaker. Like, it's not like they're all 2 mana spells, such that you knew that if I play this on turn 7, I'll be able to cast a spell. So sometimes you get something kind of useless, and these aren't that much stronger. That's very strong. That feels kind of insane compared to that. Like, that's twice the damage in normal flame strike. That's very good, just free, you can play it immediately. Draw 4 cards. The difficulty of planning around this is going to make it difficult, but it'll get there. Deal 6 damage amongst all enemies. These are pretty much all good. Like, there'll be times where this is useless, times where this is great. I realise you can't see my cursor. Malygos Intellect. Times when it's useless, times when it's great. I don't deny that that's going to be a good card. It might be crazy, but it's not that interesting. It's just a card which gives you strong cards. Primordial Explorer. Oh, by the way, should have said I love the art on this, and equivalently the one on this. These look great. Poisonous, Battlecry, Discover Dragon. This is great. Like, 3 mana Poisonous is actually a perfectly reasonable cost, because what you've got here is a 2/3 that also kills anything in one. Discovering a dragon is really powerful, because it's it's better than card draw often. Like, cards in your deck are strong, but you don't have to choose which one of the three it is. I expect this, unless there's some other card which has taken that slot, to be in a lot of decks. Maybe Hunter won't get played, but if Hunter is getting played, there's very little reason not to be playing this. It also activates any other Dragon Synergy stuff. Azure Explorer, a lot less strong, just because of the one extra cost. But 2 spell damage could... There's situations where this will be good. This is pretty much always good. So side quests. Side quests are new. Let's... Are these quests that you can complete multiple times? Pick a random website, let's check it out. So side quests are things that the good heroes get rather than the League of Evil heroes. It doesn't start in your hand. You can have multiple of them. And they're much easier to complete. So effectively, like this one, Learn Draconic, you are... let's have it in big. If you have 8 mana worth of spells, this is something that's 6 dragon for 1, plus an extra card in your deck. I'll wait to see if this is really strong. Use your hero power 3 times. This could be strong in a hunter deck that is either really just trying to kill the opponent, or not doing very much for the first few turns. Like, this would be a lot stronger if it was a quest, because this starting in your hand, you could play this on turn 1, and by about turn 4, have it turning into something. You've used your hero power 3 times by then, which is 3 times that you haven't used your cards. So one of the givens here is deck size. So every time you use your hero power, you're getting to cheat deck size. Hand size should probably be on this list as well. Like, you've got to bear that in mind. But if you're playing that kind of hunter, you're probably wanting to kill your opponent quickly. You're probably not too worried about running out of hand size. Fate Weaver. If you've invoked twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. I don't think this will be very strong. Because to have invoked twice, you need to be quite a long way through your deck. Your hand won't necessarily be very full. Some really carefully constructed decks, this might be really strong, but you want a really full hand for this to be doing much. Also, it's going to allow combos, because you can reduce the cost of cards by 1. That just allows other things that you can do. But I don't know, it's hard to tell, having not looked at much of the set, how reliable invoking is going to be. How often you're going to get through them. So, we'll see. Some of these cards I might return to as I go, and I'll see stuff and be like, actually this is much more important. Destroy minion, invoke Galagond. Honestly, destroy a minion for 5 is pretty much fine. It's not strong, but sometimes you just want to get rid of a minion. Like, something comes along, you're like, I don't want that. I don't want to look at that anymore. Get that out of here. And paying 5 mana for it, you'd probably, chances are any minion that you absolutely want to destroy is worth more than 5 mana. Even if it costs less than 5 mana, it's probably worth more than 5 mana now. So you're probably happy to pay the 5 mana for it, even though it doesn't do very much. Like, you probably have to pay as much in minions to do it. Invoking Galcon will only be better. This certainly isn't amazing, but it's pretty solid. You could see play if invoking becomes important. Yeah, totally. Devoted Maniac. Rush, Battlecry, invoke Galagond. So this to me suggests that Blizzard think that this is the invoking is worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot to have. Like a rush for 2/2, terrible. A rush for 2/2 rush for terrible. So invoking must be good. Oh no, this is a really really weird card. This just seems like a bad card. I mean, let's be clear. It's important to put bad cards in every set. You kind of have to. There has to be a range. This kind of seems needlessly bad, but maybe invoking is hard to think. So far, I think everything we've seen it invokes is relatively high cost, so getting an invoking at 4 mana might be worth it. So here's the Priest Galakrond. We'll now go through all the Galakronds. Destroy one random enemy minion. Pretty sure that invoking twice will make it destroy 2 random enemy minions. I know nothing about World of Warcraft like fiction. I don't know who Galakrond is. Destroy 2, destroy 4. So you have to invoke 4 times for this to happen, but god, it's strong. Destroy 4 random enemy minions. Their board is probably gone. Equip a 5/2 claw. Fine, that's strong. You know. Also, priests with weapons. Some classes almost never have weapons, or things like that. Like most classes almost never have overload, and sometimes there's a capacity for really weird, maybe quite incredible combinations in there. Yeah, looks pretty good. I basically expect that most of these hero power replacement cards be played. The kind of things that you end up building a deck around, and if you play this turn 7, well, what's the hero power? Add a random priest minion to your hand. Yeah, that's probably worth it. So get another one. Oh, I thought we were going in alphabetical order. We are not. Veiled Worshipper. If you've invoked twice, draw 3 cards. So we've got to see how quickly Warlock can invoke, but if it can invoke quickly, that's going to be very strong. Fiendish Rites. Invoke Galakrond, give your minions +1 attack. Yeah. If the Warlock Galakrond is being played, this is probably going to be played. It's only fine. Like in terms of the costs per what you get, you've got to have 3 minions on board at least for this to be worthwhile. But again, invoking seems to be worthwhile enough that that it's got a lot of power. And this, to me at least, this being 3 means a lot more than that rush minion being 4. This being 3 tells me I can play it a turn earlier, I can play more stuff with it. It's immediately going to translate into damage as long as I have something on the board. It might only translate to 1 damage, but sometimes you play 3 mana for 1 damage and it's worth it. Like, adding a damage to the board often allows you to kill something that would otherwise not be killable. Or, like, even if you don't play it, even if your opponent just knows you might have it in your deck, it means that they cannot trust the amount of attack you have on the board. Because next turn you might suddenly get an extra attack that they don't realise. And Rush does the same, but if your opponent thinks you're playing this, they're probably going to think that you might play this any turn, so they've got to play around it basically every turn after turn 3. That in itself makes it really strong. Something that we often don't see is there's the given the opponent on here. And that's not given the opponent, like, just given what they play, but given what you can play them into play. So yeah, I think this is pretty strong. Dragonlight Cultist. Invoke for 3 mana. Okay, +1 attack for each other friendly minion. This seems to be pushing a Zoo Warlock again. This seems weak to me, but might be worth it for the Invoking. You're never going to get so much attack that this is crazy. Kind of unlike the last one, like this, if you get this one attack on the right minions, you get them on a bunch of taunt minions, great. If you get this, that's like, you know, almost every time, not every time, certainly some exceptions, but almost every time that you might want to play this, you're probably better off playing this. Like, if you're playing it on an empty board, it's only a 1-1. If there's one other minion there, these feel about equally valuable. This is exactly the kind of place where I might be completely wrong. So here's the Warlock Galakrond. Summon one random demon. Hero power, summon 2 1/1 imps. That is powerful. Are you gonna... Galakrond the Wretched. So all of these seem to be you invoke twice to upgrade them. And also that you get a 5/2 claw at the end. Summoning more demons is slightly... It kind of gets away from you how worth it is. Because the weird thing is that a lot of demons, they synergize with each other. A lot of demons, you kind of want them to stick around, and some of them have taunt. Summoning 4 demons is probably better generally than summoning 2 demons twice separately. So yeah, this is strong. I could definitely see it being played. It's not as strong. It's kind of represented by the rating there. Hero power doesn't change, I'm pretty sure. Breath of Dreams. Draw a card. If you hold a dragon, gain extra mana crystal. Good. Only thing that's not great about it is that mana crystals mean nothing towards the end of the game, but even then it turns into a drawn up card thing. This will really depend on what kind of decks Druids are playing, but if they're really hanging around to the late game, drawing cards doesn't get them very much, but this seems really good. Again, dragon decks are slow decks. Slow decks want to be playing things in the early game that aren't their minions, because their minions are expensive. Their minions are normally in their hands, and their minions are normally dragons. Umbral Skulker. Weirdly tongue twister. Battle cry. If you've invoked twice, add 3 coins to your hand. I'm not even going to make a guess at this card. This card could be crazy, because you get 3 combo pieces that give you more stuff. Stat line's fine. It's not good, but you know, sometimes if you have to play a 4 mana 3/3, it's not the worst thing. Like, it's 3/3 is a solid stat line. There's not much that kills it in one, and there's not much it doesn't kill in one. That's obviously not true as you get up to like high cost minions, but even around 4 or 5 points, it's either probably going to kill something or not be killed. Both of them good for getting you mana. People think, anyone who's still thinking about the Delta might be thinking, none of these cards do anything directly to your health, but they have the really difficult calculation with it. The place where I actually don't know if we have the mathematical tools right now to describe the expected health gain and health loss from these things. For one thing, I think it's very high dimensional. It's very dependent on what all your opponents are doing and other cards in your hand. But they do translate eventually into either killing a minion that would do damage to you, do damage to your opponent, keeping a minion that does damage to your opponent alive. Like, all of these things are so multi-purpose. This given is huge. This given, if anyone's not quite sure, I keep on saying given, go to Wikipedia, look up Bayes' theory. If it doesn't make any sense to you, fair enough, it's not obvious, but it's a really fundamental way of looking at probabilities. A lot more sensible than probably what you were taught in school. And it's worth thinking about. It's very simply, given is the probability of something given, what I already know or what I can affect, is not just what do I see in front of me, but what pre-knowledge do I have. Praise Galakrond. Give a minion +1 attack, invoke Galakrond. Yeah, if invoking is good, which it seems to be good, this is fine. 1 mana, invoke Galakrond. You can only play this, I think, when you have a minion on the board, so it's not. You can't just kind of. Like, if you had this on turn 1 and you just played it on turn 1 or nothing, that would be great. I don't suppose you're allowed to do that. Maybe you are, because it has a separate attack. I don't quite know the rules on that. Good place for sidebar. One of the fascinating things about something like Hearthstone is that all of the rules are so carefully defined, but even then, there's so many edge cases that are still not carefully defined. And that's why people manage to find weird effects where, like, a minion of yours dies and the enemy gets healed the health it's supposed to heal you because in dying it traded to the other person. So, I don't know. Disguised Toast is very good at finding these. A lot of streamers are very good at finding these. I don't know who they all are, but I've certainly seen Disguised Toast finding some really weird interactions. And just things like, can I play this when I don't have a minion, is not immediately clear. And there's not really any way that you can make that clear in the card text. These are the kind of rules you learn from context. This is why it's so difficult to set up any self-consistent rule set. Why occasionally a card is completely broken in Hearthstone in a way that the developers didn't intend. Often when it's completely broken, the developers didn't intend it. But Evasive Draconite. Taunt can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. You're not going to be unhappy if this pops out of a generate around a minion, or even if it comes up in Arena, but you're not going to play this unless you're just looking for something else to stick in the 7 spot. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. It is strong. 7/7 is hard to get rid of in any way apart from this. It's a lot of damage to do. It's probably either it's going to wipe out the opponent's board or it's going to survive for you to actually use it to attack. That's a solid 3 out of 5 card. Twin Torrent. Deal 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. 8 mana, 4/10. No. Maybe. Kind of bored by this. No, it's fine. It does something. It probably sticks around. I think this kind of card is one of the ones which is hard to guess the value of. Like, what's that dragon with taunt that does 2 damage to everything? That turned out to be really strong because it damages the whole opponent's board. Then they have to deal with this dragon. This isn't that, because the opponent has no compulsion to trade into it. Like, it's not going to save you at the end of the game or anything like that. The not dying caveat makes some cards a lot stronger than they originally appear. Taunt cards particularly, but other things as well. After you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. This is cool. I like this. It pairs with the side quest. It's not very strong, but it could be very strong. Like, if you're... Oh, no, it's a random enemy. I think this would be stronger, even though it would do less damage overall, if this was random enemy minion. Random enemy, that 5 damage can just go face. But even when it does, you're probably trying to just get through your opponent's health with a card like... If you're playing a deck with a card like this. So even at going face isn't too bad. It's not as reliable as knowing, like, I'm going to play 6 mana, deal 5 damage to one of their minions, particularly if they have 1 minion to their 1 minion, and do 2 damage to their face. It's generally true that you have to offset the cost of any random thing. Anything random costs more and is worth less. Dwarven Sharpshooter, your hero power can target minions. This is exactly the kind of thing that might be completely forgotten, but it pairs you well with that quest and that card we just saw. But also, it's a 1-mana 1/3, and it's going to allow you to hold down the board so well. It just gives you more options. Like, frankly, 1-mana 1/3 is often worth it, but there's a really good chance that this is going to survive till turn 3. That it's quite possibly going to mean that you can deal with the opponent's minion instantly, even if you get it late. This becomes 3 mana, 1/3, deal 2 damage to an enemy minion, which isn't great, but it's fine. 3 mana, 1/3, deal 2 damage to an enemy minion. That's Disciple of Cthulhu, which was a good card that people would play even if they weren't playing Cthulhu. Not, they wouldn't want to be playing it, but you know, again, if it came up in Arena, you'd be like, yeah, deal 2 damage, and it's got more health. And you can keep on targeting minions. I think this is really strong. There's actually a bias here. I kind of know that even an okay 1-drop tends to be really strong, or at least see a lot of play, because 1-drops come down more often than anything else, and this is a stronger 1-drop than most. Is it a stronger 1-drop than any other Hunter 1-drops? I think so, but I don't know the Hunter set fully. Phase Stalker. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. I love this art. This seems to be a reference to, or at least to me it looks like a reference to the almost omnipotent cat in Adventure Time. Obviously, if you start searching omnipotent cat, you get, this guy, who is great. You get omnipotent Catholic Church. What's he called? Demon Cat. Am I the only one who's seeing that? I think it's that. I'm pretty sure Demon Cat can phase stalk. After you use a hero power, cast a secret from your deck. This is also great, and the reason that I think this is great is because it gets a card out of your deck, which, if you're going for a fast explode onto board, it means that the card you want to draw is easier to get at. It's a lot of value. I'm not putting it on the board, but I think this is good. I think it will depend if it's worth playing secrets in these kind of decks. Emerald Explorer. Taunt, Battlecry, Discover a Dragon. It's fine. It's fine, you know. It's pretty good for 6 mana. It's got a lot of health. Again, that's enough attack to kill most things. This comes down and your opponent goes, really? Because not only do they get this, they know that you have something in your hand. Even if this just stalls, actually this is better than I thought it was, because even if this just stalls out your opponent, your discovery could be the thing you need to deal with your opponent's board. You've got all this information about what your opponent's going to be doing next turn. It's going to be dealing with this. So you kind of know what's about to happen. So you're not just making a discovery of the thing that you need, but you're making a discovery of the thing you need, and you're pretty certain of what the board state's going to look like next. And being certain of the next board state is one of the most valuable things. This is why I think it's all kind of varied play, but a card the Chameleon, which showed you what was in your opponent's hand, or Madame Lazio, that was great. I don't know if it's all constructed play, but I played a lot of Zale's Evil decks, and every time that came up, I was like, I want to put this down, even if I don't want card, because I want to see what's in my opponent's hand. The reason that's good is the same reason this is good, because it gives you a much stronger idea of what's about to happen next. And both knowing what's about to happen next and getting a thing that you need to deal with it. Also, you're not losing a dragon from your hand when you play it. Something like this, no one is going to be surprised if it's good. Definitely no one's going to be surprised if it's good. Some of the other things in here, I think some people will pass by and then come back to. They all have the capacity to be much stronger than they originally appear. This one's definitely one of those. You have gone on a whole journey with this guy. Lightning Breath. So we already saw this. It's good. Deal a bunch of damage to minions. You'd love it to get the full hit 3 minions, but if your opponent only has 2 minions or only has 1 minion, you won't, and you're playing this, you probably don't mind that it's only hitting 2. Like, you can hang around to wait to see if they play a third thing that is worth hitting. 4 damage is a lot of damage. That's going to kill most things. Even if you're not holding a dragon, 4 damage for 3 mana, no overload. I'm in. This is a powerful card. Ysera Unleashed, we've already seen. Dream Portal, cast a random dragon. It's got 9 mana cost, which you won't be paying at any point, but having big spells in your deck that you've played, sometimes that could be really significant. That big spell cost might lead to some really cool, relatively hidden interaction that I'm excited to see. Galakon the Nightmare, so this is the Rogue Galakon. Draw 1 card, it costs 0. I think we can probably guess that it's going to draw 2 then. 4. Hire me, Blizzard. Yeah, actually hire me, Blizzard. I'd do it. Not full-time, but I'd consult. If you want an eccentric mathematician, come get me. There we go. Hero power, lucky to your hand. I don't think that's crazy. This is the least crazy one I've seen so far, but actually, again, it's one of those ones where the scale, it kind of goes off the scale. Drawing 4 cards that cost 0, you're much more likely to get a really valuable thing that costs 0. Draw 1 card that costs 0, sometimes you'll get a 1 mana thing. 4 cards and cost 0, you might get some crazy things, including just, like, Edward and Van Cleef is still in standard, right? If Edward and Van Cleef is still in standard, this becomes a lot stronger, because it just gives the option to play, like, 9 cards in a turn. It gives the option to have a lot of combos. We've already seen the one that gives you coins, which again suggests a lot of combos. No, I haven't seen that strong combo things yet, but God, the combo activators are the strongest they've ever been here. So, fine, but I don't know if I've said this about all the Galakons. Let's just go back and see them. It could be broken as hell. No, this one is just solid. How far down this list are we? Oh, we're reaching the end. Oh, I'm enjoying this. This one could be crazy. Seal Fate, deal 3 damage to non-damaged character, invoke Galakrond. Fine, undamaged makes life harder. The opponent can play around it. 3 damage is not going to kill too many things, but it's an invoke. Again, that 4 mana 2/2 is blowing my mind. Shield of Galakrond, taunt, invoke Galakrond. Fine. Okay, that's all we've got so far. So let's actually jump back out and can we see everyone's ratings for Descent of Dragons? What do other people think are going to be the most powerful cards here? So they agree with Candle Breath is going to be very powerful. They think Breath of Dreams is going to be very powerful. Could well be. This is kind of the least powerful of these. They don't think Deathwing's going to be that powerful. So let's have a look at the comments. Let's see what people say. Better Twisting Nether. That's a good way of thinking about it. Generally, a really good way of trying to understand a card is to map it to another card. Or to map it, to kind of change the card text. Like, I first realised this looking at Pyroblast. I was like, if you're playing a game and you know what's in your opponent's deck, you know they have a Pyroblast in their deck, then what Pyroblast is doing is reducing their life by 10. With some weird, like, extra restrictions, but, like, if they know you've got a Pyroblast in your deck, then not dying, the given not dying becomes much stronger because they have 20 health. In general, they have to work assuming you have the Pyroblast, because if they go below 10, unless they absolutely have to, unless it's the best option, there's a chance you just end the game. Permablast is not. I think Permablast is a lot stronger in like tournaments than people may be giving it credit for. Not because of its real strength, but because of what it does to your opponent. I think it's so much stronger when your opponent knows you have it, in a weird way. I would love to see a card like a minion whose battle cry was give you a Pyroblast. It could be pretty bad stats, but it would do really fascinating things. I'd love to see this not for playing it, but for watching the game. It would do fascinating things in that your opponent would suddenly have to be, oh my god, they've got Pyroblast. I gotta do something about this. It is nice when it's an empty board. When it's an empty board, it's a lot of value. It's just another version of Brawl, but it's a Brawl you know you'll win. There's a card somewhere, I think in one of the solo sets. I don't think it's in actual meta that always wins Brawl. I think this person's right that it's not meta defining, but it is just good. And if cards come out that like damage, like if you play, you can't play it on one turn unless you reduce the cost. But if you do reduce the cost of both of these, you play these two in one turn. A Frothing Berserker and this. No, because the Frothing Berserker gets it. The only time this is going to be weak is if you have a board, and what your opponent's going to be able to do, the strategy against it is going to be, as long as it's not too unvaluable for them, leaving you with a board such that you have to play this and it sinks its health into your own board and kills your board. That's the most convincing reason I've yet come up with that it's not high rated. By the way, wisdom of crowds is not wisdom. All the individuals in a crowd are wise, and I want to hear their opinion and think about it. But as a whole, it's not that. The crowds, they just have too many different perspectives. So these scores are not very meaningful. Do not base too much on these scores just because they're not the aggregate of many opinions, because people's opinions are much more nuanced than how many things out of 5. They're kind of meaningless. They're just easy to read. They're just reducing it down to a single variable. So everyone thinks this is terrible. Let's see if anyone has a reason why this is good. Like, does anyone have anything good to say about this? Yeah, the only people saying anything say it's super bad. I'm going to be fascinated if there's some reason why this is better than everyone thinks. This is Devoted Maniac. Just realised you can't see my cursor. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh my god, this is hard. Oh. Dragonbane. People think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Dragonblight Cultist. People think it's pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad. It's nice. It's nice to have my opinions reinforced. Dragon's Horde. Is this the one that PC Gamer released by mistake? I heard that happened. Don't sue me, PC Gamer. Don't come at me, Christopher Livingston, with your really enjoyable writing and often interesting critiques. Don't come at me. Discover a legendary minion from another class. 1 mana, pretty good. Discover, pretty much always good. Legendary minion is good, that's bad, but that's solid. You know, something to play on turn 1. Does Rogue need something to play on turn 1? Does Rogue need a random legendary minion? That's not clear right now, but it's fine. Yep, people think the Dwarven Sharpshooter is ace. People think Emerald Explorer is ace. People are as smart as me, or differently smart than me, or much smarter than me, or less smart than me. I have no way to tell. I don't have enough data. But we seem to agree, so I feel happy. They think this is kind of boring. They think Priest 1 is very good. They think Rogue 1 is very good. They think Warlock 1 is not so good. And to me, that would be because Warlock 1 feels like the most diminishing returns if you don't manage to invoke. Also, because the Warlock invoke cards don't seem to be as strong as other people. If you invoke twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand. One thing worth saying is, if you've invoked twice, this is probably in your hand. It probably makes future invoking cheaper. And it makes this cheaper. I think if I'd gone back through the list, I might have valued this a little bit higher. People don't think this is very good. I think they might be wrong about this. Not because it's great, but because it's the only game in town. It's, if you're wanting to play Galagon the Wretched, it's a pretty good way to be doing it. They think that's fine. They think this is very good. I agree. They think this is great, which will remain to be seen. I think the randomness of what you're going to get may make it a lot worse than people think. You're playing on 5. It's a weird thing to be playing on 5, like low attack, high health minion on 5. It's not doing a kind of classical 5 thing. And something like this dies to a 4/4. Don't get that. But your opponent could all be playing on 4. The upgraded mage spell is powerful, and you get to discover it. Didn't read that before. It's a lot stronger than I just thought. You can have a pretty good chance of discovering what you want. There's so many that you can't expect to see anything, but it's quite possible if you have any mana spare, you're really unlikely not to see something that costs 0 or 1. You can make a decision like, I think my opponent's going to get huge things, I want the Flame Strike. Yeah, no, this is strong, this will be good. Yeah, just finishing up, let me have some lunch.
Cool. If you're just finishing up then. Sounds good.
Molten Breath, did I see this? It's fine. I'm bored by this. Well, there's lots here that I haven't seen. Most dual mode are timeless. Set each player's 10 mana crystals for 4. Love it. Absolutely love it. I think what will happen is people will put cards in their deck which, if they happen to suddenly have 10 mana crystals, would be great. This could ruin every meta. This will allow some really broken combos, but the difficulty is that you're playing a strong thing for 4 mana, but then your opponent is coming at you with 10 mana, and there's a lot they can do there. I don't know. This is going to be a really fun card to watch. I'm glad this is a thing. Phase Stalker, people think it's strong. I think maybe they're slightly overdoing how strong it is, but again, this one people think is not that strong. Again, it needs to be seen how good Invoking is. Them thinking that this is strong and that this isn't strong seems like a contradiction to me. Primordial Explorer, I think they've really done down how strong this is. I think this will see a lot of play. I think I could be very well. Sandbath. Yeah, people think it's strong. I think it's good. Saffrovar, we haven't seen. Choose a friendly minion, add a copy of it to your hand, deck, and battlefield. Absolutely. Not strong on its own, but potentially crazy. It's golden? Why is it golden here? Has it got some special rules around it? Maybe. Seal Fate. I think it's fine. This, I think it's fine. This, I think, is pretty good, and I agree. They don't love this. I think they should probably like this better. I mean, 3/1/1 Lepinomes, not that much, but actually, over the course of this, you've just done so much damage to your opponent. You've done probably 12 plus damage to your opponent just by having this. And some opponents you cannot damage out. Like, some control decks you cannot get through with damage, but this it's just hitting home for a lot of damage. It's getting things on the board, maybe you can buff them, maybe you're using your hero pad to kill off other stuff. You're clearly using your hero pad to do stuff, like look at all these. I think this is stronger than people might have thought. You have 4 damage to random enemy minions, people think it's boring. If you've invoked nice, people think it's pretty great. People think both of these are pretty great, I agree. Wax of Dread they think is strong. Ysera they think is less strong. I think I agree with this. I think it's going to be really interesting. There's a few cards in here that could go crazy, there's a few archetypes that could go crazy, and that's always the most interesting. Like, Rogue getting able to combo so much could be fascinating. There's a lot of cards able to draw a lot more cards. Hearthstone changes as a game when you can, on average, draw more than one card per turn. It becomes less of a playing what you have, and it becomes more of a finding what you want. Like, you can never be certain that you'll draw everything, but you start to be able to assume that you'll probably be able to make some plays in the game. Like, if you watch professional Hearthstone right now, most of the cards that people really want to play, they get to play. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. I'm really glad for Battlegrounds. Can't wait to play that. I'll probably do another video about why, but I think that's going to be really interesting to do. Maybe not. Maybe great, maybe not great, don't know, but really interesting. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being you.